Hi, welcome to day 10 of our Wellness Bootcamp for Quarantine. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Minke. This is Minke Wellness. And I can already feel a few things going on, just feeling it in the vibes. One of them is that we've only got a 2-week boot camp, but our quarantine just got extended 4 more weeks. So what do? I'm not going to continue doing the boot camp for 4 more weeks. The 2-week time frame is actually a pretty good time frame for the boot camp. And what I'd recommend is just going back to day 1. Once you're done with the 2-week here, is go back to day 1 and start over. And what the amazing thing is some of it you think, oh yeah, I know that. Oh yeah, that's simple. Oh yeah, I'm kind of already done that. No big deal. If you go back and repeat it and do it again, you find out how you actually built skills. And it's amazing how some of the things that we talked about for you to become aware of, you're immediately aware of. And you go, oh wow, I really have learned something. Fundamentally, my skills have gone up a notch. So even though some of these things seem simplistic, they seem just like a concept, and how can that change anything? If you actually participate, 1, just watch the video and put the concept in your brain, but 2, a little bit of participation, and it's amazing how much you learn without actually knowing that you've learned it. And when you go back and do it a second time, you're like, oh my gosh, I get so much more out of the second round, and I've done this for myself. I laugh at my joke as I say, I learned something from me when I go back and rewatch some of these videos, because I've forgot some of this stuff, right? And so I know that sounds goofy, or at least it does to me, but you just can't hold everything in your brain all the time. So a lot of times when you're doing a program of something that we're focusing on, in this case, skill building for wellness, your brain is in a place of absorbing and interacting with that information that's different than your everyday life. So anyway, I highly encourage you, congratulations on making it this far, and I encourage you that when this is over, when our boot camp is over, but you still have a lot of quarantine left like we do, just go back and repeat it, just rinse and repeat, and you'll find you get a lot more out of it. So today, on day 10, we have an opportunity to talk about a really important issue. Not that the other stuff hasn't been important, but this is today we're talking about how to perimeter defense. How does the body defend itself in terms of the outside world, and are there any wellness tools we can use? And this is a really important discussion when we start talking about the wellness strategy of stop poisoning ourselves, or first do no harm, stop poisoning ourselves, flood the body with nutrients, and manage our stress. We definitely in this category tend to very quickly and easily fall into, well, it's justified to use a toxin because it's really important that we get this job done of being clean and sanitized. So let's talk about this. So when we talk about perimeter defense, the body has a natural perimeter. The main perimeter is the skin, right? This is a perimeter, and it has a lot of features. It's got an oily surface that defends and repels against water-soluble toxins. It does mean that fat-soluble toxins that land on the skin absorb very quickly into the lymph system, and the skin can hold toxins, fat-soluble toxins. The natural world does not have a lot of fat-soluble toxins. Our industrial world does. These are plastic residues, industrial processing chemicals, things that are needed to make our artificial clothing like nylon, plastics, polyester, things like that carry with it these manufacturing chemicals that are fat-soluble toxins. They're even hormone-disrupting chemicals. And we sometimes, I'm amazed at people who say, oh no, I don't need to cleanse, or I don't need to worry about any of that stuff. I'm like, you live in the same world I do, right? And then you need to think about these things. And so the skin does get pummeled pretty hard in our chemically saturated world. So we definitely don't want to add more toxins to the skin in the form of cleaners and bleach and sanitizers that are going to actually do even more damage, add more chemical burden to the body. And we're talking about the very same hand sanitizers and cleaning solutions and spritzers and whatnot that we're hoping will protect us against this environmental scourge, the virus that's going around, but that can see how that is not lining up. Okay, we can't hurt ourselves on one side and expect benefit on the other. At some point the trade-off isn't worth it. So this perimeter protection is important, but we have to be reasonable about this, and then look for better options, natural options, things that are effective without necessarily toxifying ourselves. And we do have solutions in that category in the form of essential oil-based things. We'll talk about the oils in a minute. But so let's talk about this perimeter. So we got this obvious outside perimeter of the skin. Very important to keep the skin healthy. I have a whole month on keeping the skin healthy. I'll tell you up front, the primary mechanism or way that you can use to have healthy skin, number one, is being hydrated. Hydration is so important. Getting dehydrated, allowing your skin to get dehydrated, causes it to crack, causes that perimeter to be violated or weakened, so that cracks around the nails and cracks around the lips and things that split the skin, which is dehydrated state, will create a vulnerable spot. That's where a virus or a bacteria or fungus or something could get in through that otherwise intact barrier. So we definitely want to be hydrated. We've talked a lot about that, but I'm just adding another plug for getting hydrated. Second is good quality fat. We need a good quality fat in our diet, which brings us into fat processing, which is the liver. We have to have a healthy liver, which being hydrated and drinking plenty of water is going to help the liver, but there are more things that we can do for the liver, and that's our month 3 in our While Wellness program for the digestive system, and a lot of focus on the liver there. I'm not going to go into all of that. There's already a lot of resources on that, but just understanding, putting some of the priorities in place for why maybe a whole year wellness program is worth looking into, and I've already provided that for you. It's free and available. And so the focus on the liver, very important. Again, you can take the wellness strategy, stop poisoning ourselves, stop poisoning the liver, flood the liver with nutrients, and manage stress. Although every one of the 3 parts of the wellness strategy can be applied to any given organ or system, right? So we want to protect the liver and do things. And I've already mentioned protection for the liver in lemon oil, for example, that limonene in lemon oil protects the liver, actually literally protects the liver from chemical damage, hepatoprotective properties. That's the term if you wanted to look that up in research-wise, hepato, which is liver protective. Sometimes you have to know the right code words to search if you're doing data searches or researching for papers and things like scientific papers. If you don't know the jargon, you can't necessarily find the right type of information. So hepatoprotection, chemoprotection, these are some terms that are worth looking into, and you type chemoprotection or hepatoprotection essential oils, and you'll find actually quite a few papers on that if you do that on like PubMed or Google Scholar or whatever that is. Okay, so the other part about the perimeter, so we talked about skin. The skin, you need to be healthy, keep the skin healthy with hydration, keep the skin healthy with good fat and fat processing, which is liver. The other thing is we've got these orifices, these places that are points of entry, and they're eyes, the nose, the mouth, the anus, which is not you don't think of it as a point of entry, the urethra. And so these are all holes, right? These are all holes in the skin and where openings and things we can get in. That's what I'm talking about right now, where you just don't touch your face, and that helps a lot. But the amazing thing is that we have an actual flora, we have a natural bacteria in the mouth, and keeping that mouth environment, that microflora in the mouth, healthy is super important. And they found out that actually is important all the way down the digestive tract. And then the eyes, people don't recognize that the eyes are getting exposed. It's an aqueous, it's an aqueous interface. And so any water-soluble toxins, which I already mentioned, the skin has a way of kind of defending against those, but the eyes get hit with the water-soluble toxins. So it's important to keep the eyes healthy. And think we've mentioned that in the Ninja Red, but if I didn't, I'll mention it here, that the Ninja Red is an amazing supplement, that Ninja Red packet, amazing supplement to promote and protect eye health, because it has both zeaxanthin and lutein in significant quantities from the wolfberry source. The Ninja goji berry has a tremendous amount of those compounds, which have been known to protect the eye and help with vision. So again, these are just things to consider when we're talking about perimeter protection. There are ways and things that we can do to help. But let's turn our attention to essential oils for the moment, because we're going to talk about how do we protect the nose and mouth, how do you protect the lungs, and then what do we do about this hand sanitizer and stuff. So in the next few minutes, I'm just going to go over what we know of as the Thieves product line. We've mentioned the Thieves oil and an amazing oil blend. And we've talked a little bit about essential oils and how they come from the plant. The plant world, the plant kingdom, has developed chemical mechanisms for defending themselves against invading microbes. And so they've developed these compounds that protect them from the invading microbes, and because it's a chemical-based system, it's not a cellular-based system, it's not an immune system, it's a chemical-based system. We can extract those chemicals and use those and apply those on our own bodies and get the same protection that the plant is getting from those same molecules. And these are these aromatic compounds that we know of as essential oils. And as long as they're extracted and maintained in their purity, and not tampered with, not chemically extracted, not using any chemicals to extract them, and certainly not synthetically produced that produces these chemical contaminants that come with it. As long as we're talking about authentic, true essential oils, and unfortunately you can't trust the label on that. You've probably heard us talk about that a number of different times, but it's just so important to have good quality when it comes to essential oils, and the label doesn't protect you on that. Anyone can put anything they want in a bottle. From the FDA, because it's a cosmetic, they don't really honor they don't define an essential oil, therefore anyone can call anything an essential oil that they put in the bottle. Anyway, so I won't go into any more of that. But let's talk about the Thieves and the Thieves line, the Thieves product line, as a tremendous tool to get the wisdom, the power and wisdom of the natural world's chemical arsenal into products that we want to use for our own personal perimeter control or perimeter protection. And of course, we have the hand sanitizer as the first thing. And this is very likely in your kit. There are some variations in the kit and availability of product, but this is just basically the same type of, it's an ethanol based added with the essential oils of Thieves. And a little bit of I think it's got aloe and things like that in it. I'm gonna have to read the tiny little writing on here, but it just like a hand sanitizer, like anything else. And how do we use a hand sanitizer? Let me encourage you that washing your hands is the primary. If you have the access to water and soap, which the Thieves foaming hand soap is an awesome product, and if you've got access to water and soap, use that first. Use that, because that's going to do better than anything like this. But when you're out and about and you don't have the opportunity to wash your hands, but you still want to add a little layer of protection, something like this is phenomenal. We also have, probably also in your kit, is this Thieves spray. And there's a surface spray, and again, it's an alcohol-based, spraying on, you can see the vapors there, spraying that on the surface. And you get the combination of the alcohol and the essential oils added in, and that misted vaporous application has been shown in lots of different research projects and studies on essential oils in general, has been shown to be effective at protection. So these are any surfaces that you're going to be touching: door handles, shopping cart handles. I wouldn't pound your cell phone too hard with an alcohol-based spray. Wipe down your cell phone just gently and trying to get some of that. You don't want to dunk your cell phone, but a very good product in that. We also have, there's a lot of different Thieves products, and I mentioned the mouth, and so we have two amazing Thieves products: the mouthwash and the Thieves toothpastes. Again, extra boost, extra power. No, it is not going to sterilize your mouth. So don't worry about it killing all of the good bacteria, but it does help to keep down the microbial load in the mouth so that only the good stuff can flourish. And so that's an important part. And then, of course, we have things like the Thieves lozenges, Thieves cough drops. Again, these are all ways to protect the most vulnerable avenue of your personal protection here. If I'm talking about personal protection, the most vulnerable is your nose and mouth. And so we want to maintain some protection there. The toothpaste, the mouthwash, the lozenges and cough drops that have the Thieves allow that constant, that protection that's there. And when I travel, I mean, we're not traveling right now, but even when I was, before all this pandemic, when I would travel internationally and fly in an airplane, I would have one of those cough drops in my mouth for the most of the flight, because those vapors of the essential oils are up there constantly protecting my mouth. Okay, this one has gone a little bit long, but I hope it's been a useful overview of talking about this idea of perimeter protection, which makes sense. We want to protect ourselves in our perimeter, but we don't want to hurt ourselves in the process. And so we definitely want to use natural perimeter protection, and the world of essential oils, the plant production, the plant world of essential oils. There's nothing that compares, even in our chemical arsenal, to what a complex mixture of plant chemicals can do. And you can read literature on how essential oils will penetrate biofilms. They'll do things that modern medical chemistry doesn't do, and that information is available out there. And so it's just an amazing thing that we can trust, and at least for me, I trust the natural world way before I trust what man's arrogance and greed will come up with in terms of a product. So I'm excited to offer this information and to share with you that you can protect your own perimeter in a bunch of different ways that still keep you and maintain the wellness approach, keep you in the wellness zone. Happy wellness, one day at a time.